Hi Sagittarius, happy early birthday to those of you celebrating November. This is your November 2021 love reading. Thank you to those of you who liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And for those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's what I call the bridging the gap spread. And the way it works is we'll look at the past energies, present energies, and future energies between you and your main love interest. Once we get through all those, we'll actually pull some oracle cards for some additional insight. That's where the bridging the gap dynamic comes into play. And as far as the decks being used, on the left side we have the Lover's Path Tarot, on the right side we have the Tarot Sexual Magic. Also, keep in mind it's a general reading, so I'm going to be referring to the cards on the left as your energy and the cards on the right as the other person's. If you feel like it's the other way around in your situation, then definitely trust that. Alright, so with all that out of the way, we get started. Past energy on your side, we have the Queen of Arrows, which is Libra energy, and the Nine of Coins, which is Virgo energy. So for some of you, this could just be saying that you might have had a heavy focus on your career and finances in the past, but with that facial expression she has there and just that stance in general, I feel like it's saying that you might have been open to a connection with them, but I feel like you totally were wanting them to take the lead if that was the case. And otherwise, you were perfectly fine being single, and like I said, most likely focusing on your career goals at the time. Alright, past energy on their side, we have the Seven of Swords. So this is Aquarius energy, and in traditional tarot we do tend to think of it pointing to deception and the person's facial expression, for example. They even look to be happy to be getting away with what they're doing. Here we see much different energy and body language in this deck, right? So for some of you, it could be as simple as they might have wanted more of an emotional type of connection, and if we look at the energy here, it looks like the feminine energy is looking toward that pentacle over there, so could be the same theme, right? Where, like I said, you guys might have just been a lot more focused on your career and finances, and this person might have wanted a more traditional, emotional type of connection between the two of you, so there definitely could have been a disconnect in energy. For some of you, it could have been that maybe they withheld that information from you, though, right? So maybe they made it seem like they were perfectly fine with the fact that you're very career-focused and driven, but underneath it all, they might have wanted something more, you know? Alright, present position on your side, we have the Five of Arrows. So this is Aquarius energy again. And for you guys, it is your third house communication. So I feel like this is saying that for whatever reason, you might actually do some communicating that's meant to get under this person's skin for whatever reason. So for some of you, if the Seven of Swords in the past was a more traditional type of deception on their part, then I guess, I could see where that might be energy that you would bring toward them. But aside from that, what stands out to me here is the way we see that angel type figure seems to be moving away from the person holding the arrows. So for some of you, it could just be one of those things where you might be engaging in a bit of a petty back and forth with them, and spirit might just be like, you know what, you're on your own if you're going to engage in something like that, because the Five of Swords, or Five of Arrows as it's called in this deck, energy is usually pretty toxic. And then looking at it through that lens too, could just be saying for some of you, this might have even been a bit of an act in the past as well, where you're just trying to get under their skin and make them seem like your life was so great, right? And all those things. But I don't know. Obviously, that'd be the case for some, not all. All right, in the present position on their side, we have the Hermit. So Virgo energy here. And this is usually a reflective, introspective type of energy. I feel like this is saying for some of you, they might even feel like you might be involved with another connection, because we do see the two people in the background there. But either way, I feel like this is saying that they're definitely not communicating with you at this time. We do see her back turned to the cards on your side. But yeah, I feel like they just might be trying to reflect and decide on what their next move should be. All right. And in the future position on your side, we have a few cards that came up. We have the Eight of Cups, which is Pisces energy. Nine of Cups, also Pisces energy. Triumph, which is the equivalent to the World card, which I view as a bit of Saturn and North Node energy. And Nine of Arrows, Gemini energy. So for some of you, this could actually be a realization. So for example, this is the first example that comes to mind. Maybe you might have had, let's say if you're a feminine energy and you had a more traditional viewpoint on gender roles when it comes to relationships, right? So maybe in other areas of your life, you're very much a go-getter, right? Okay, you're gonna go after your goals, you're gonna go get what you want. But when it comes to relationships, you're like, no, I want someone to chase after me, right? I want them to do the heavy lifting, right? So that could be saying that that might have been what you've been searching for in the past, but now with that Nine of Cups energy, you have more of a realization that, you know what, if there is something I want, even if it is a relationship, it's in my power to actually manifest that for myself. And with the Triumph energy, that could just be saying that that was the lesson that you were meant to learn through this connection. But what's interesting is with the Nine of Arrows, though, it looks like there's still reluctance to communicate that message to this person, right? So now we see, same way we saw the angel symbolism there, with like they were moving away for you in the Five of Arrows energy. Now I feel like it's saying that whatever lessons you needed to learn around the connection, which we talked about, now they want you to come forward and communicate to this person. But it looks like there's a reluctance on your part to do so, you know. And I mean, I get it, right? Like, if that's how you were raised, that that was, oh, this is the way things should go, and now you're learning that, okay, maybe that doesn't fit for my life, right? It could be one of those things where it's hard to really shake that. So that's what I'm seeing there. Um, and for some of you, I mean, it could just be a symbol. It doesn't have to be a huge thing. It could just be maybe an apology, right? If you were neglecting the connection in the past, right? Saying, hey, I was, a bit too focused on career goals or whatever, and even just wanting open lines of communication with them, right? Even if not necessarily say, oh, I want to be with you, but even if you just want to get things reestablished at a friend level first, I feel like there could be some reluctance on your part to come forward. All right, future energy on their side, we have the Knight of Wands. So this is actually Sagittarius energy here. So for some of you, this could just be saying that they will be open to communicating with you. Possibly, if you guys are at a physical distance from each other, there could be some travel plans made to see you. But I do have to say, for a smaller group of you, this could just be them kind of giving you back that energy that you were giving them. So in that regard, then it's like, okay, you have guilt on both sides if there's just a petty back and forth between the two of you. But, I do see that as at least a possibility for some of you. So just wanted to mention that. But yeah, for the majority of you, though, it looks like there is an openness, a willingness to actually take action toward the connection, but they probably would be waiting for you to come forward first. All right, bottom of the deck. On your side, we have the Eight of Arrows, and Leo actually had this on the bottom of the deck for their reading too. So if you're dealing with Leo, if you have a prominent Leo placement in your chart, you might want to check that reading out too. But yeah, very similar to the Nine of Arrows energy we see there too, right? Which is feeling overwhelmed, a lot of thoughts in your mind, not necessarily wanting to come forward to communicate, not feeling ready to, right? Maybe not even knowing what words to say. But we do see that progressing since we did see the Nine there. And bottom of the deck on their side, we have the Emperor. So yeah, like I said, I know when I was reading through this, it might have made it sound like you were the one, quote unquote, at fault. But I mean, I do see a little bit of stubbornness energy on their side too, especially if we look at this Emperor. He has his back turned to the cards on your side, and then also he just gives off that vibe like, okay, I'm not going to take any action, right? So looks like there could be some fault on both sides in this one, but yeah, that's what I'm seeing there. Could just be saying that they might have felt equally within their right to dig in. So obviously that could have been what caused the impasse between the two of you. All right, so moving on to the Oracle cards now. We'll see if we get anything from the Aqua Moonlight deck here. I did pre-shuffle this deck, and what I'm looking for here is unspoken messages from you to them and from them to you. I'm going to shuffle for a bit and look for some jumpers. Oh, already got one on your side. All right. And I was going to say look for jumpers, but worst case I would pull a card if we didn't get any, but already got one on your side. Now we'll see if we get any on their side. Nope, got one there. Okay, so we'll see what we got on your side first. Okay, we have no strings. It says, I want you close to me, but I'm not ready for a commitment. So, that definitely seems to align with the energies we saw in the past for sure. And even in the future for some of you, although, like I said, in the future, it looks like you are looking like you're more open to a more traditional type of relationship. But I could certainly see, like I said, where that might have been the energy in the past. And the only reason why I would say that could be problematic is for those of you who maybe didn't make that clear in the past, right? So that could have been the thing. That would be the only reason why I would say you would be at fault in some ways if you didn't explain to them that you just wanted a no strings attached. If you gave them the impression that there would be a commitment, then that would be a bit more problematic, you know? So the only reason I point that out is, again, because we see that Five of Arrows in the present. All right, and on their side, we have intensity. It says, the feelings I have for you overwhelm me, so I run away to process them. So, interesting message there, too. I didn't necessarily get a runaway energy from this, but I did mention that in the traditional Seven of Swords energy, we do see a guy running off. So, for some of you, that could have been what it was, you know? So, it definitely looks like there was clearly a disconnect between the two of you in the past. And there's even, it looks like that could be a risk for that to happen again in the future, too, given that we do see the Knight of Wands energy. So, again, if you guys do come around now and you tell them all these feelings, there's still a chance that that intensity might actually pull them away, too. If that's the case, I feel like most likely they would come back. But yeah, if they withdraw for a bit, if you do decide to come forward and let them know that your feelings have changed and you want to have a different approach to the connection, you just might have to be a little patient with them in that regard. So hopefully that resonated. All right, and lastly, we'll pull a card from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. Same situation as far as I pre-shuffled this deck too, but here we're just looking for one card with general advice and we'll wrap up. All right, already got one. Perfect. Okay, you guys got peace. There's the artwork and the number is 23. Okay, it says freedom from attachment, radical acceptance. The Oracle's message. It doesn't get any better than this. A quiet mind, a heart fulfilled, freedom from want, and a soul satisfaction. The way to peace is through radical acceptance. Everything in your world is exactly as it should be. Harmony is beautiful. Enjoy it. Now, I will say, interestingly enough, in a way, it looked like you might have had that energy in the past, but like I said, for some of you, that might have been a bit of a show you were putting on. In the future, it looks like you do get there, especially with that Triumph energy. You know, we go from the Eight of Cups to the Nine of Cups, then Triumph, but then there's that Nine of Swords. So, I don't know, it could be something that where maybe you guys get there for a bit, but you might struggle because you start to overthink things, and like I said, possibly around communicating with this person. The relationship message says when two people are in true alignment with one another, they have an innate harmony between them. They are as two perfectly tuned instruments playing together. Sometimes it's impossible to tell who is who. Peace is yours and it is to be savored. Yeah, I mean, I do have to say I don't necessarily see that energy playing out this month because, like I said, it looks like there was clearly more of a disconnect between the two of you in the past. In the future, it looks like you might be getting more on the same page, but as we saw with their card, they might still be freaked out. So even if you do come back around, they might run off. So this looks like it might take a little bit more work. I don't necessarily see it being a deal breaker, but it just might take some patience at the very least. So hopefully that resonated with you guys. We'll wrap up there, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.